So we will go directly to the point G, as in God, cleanliness and hygiene. That's what you see the screen?
Prabhuji,
Yes.
Prabhuji, is it possible to increase the width, like page width, wide, or increase the size?
Size, I'm sure it's possible.
We can increase it. Vasanta Mataji, I increased it in my iPad.
Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, I did, but it keeps flickering. Okay.
This is my PDF, so it's right here. Let's see, we should see the option. This one.
Bottom right, Prabhuji. The zoom buttons are in the bottom right.
But how do I increase in the zoom?
No, on the you're opening in the Acrobat, right? On the right hand side menu, in the bottom there is a that magnifier.
Oh, correct. Zoom was taking over. Correct. Perfect. Thank you. Is this better?
Yes, Prabhuji. That's
better.
Nice. Thank you.
Okay. Let's see. We move this out of the way. And participants. And I can share. Okay, any one question from yesterday? Any reflection, any discussion? Just for 2-3 minutes, not long. What happened with my file? If nothing, then let's continue. So cleanliness and hygiene. Point A.
Our screen is gone.
Oh, what happened? I thought I was sharing. Okay, is it back?
Yes, it is back.
Okay.
And we can read, Prabhuji, since you are just recovering from your illness.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to request many of you to read. So the first one I will read, as mentioned earlier, fresh clothes must be worn in the temple. We don't have more discussion on this next. Is that okay? That's understanding is
very clear. Yeah, no problem. We know it. We have to take a bath and then come to the temple and wear a fresh cloth.
Yeah.
With a little bit ironing if it is too crimply.
Right. So second point, who would like to read the second point?
I can read, Prabhuji. After one takes the prasadam, the area where the plate was kept must be cleared. One should not step over the area where prasadam was taken because it is considered contaminated. The place where we take prasadam becomes contaminated. And if one steps on the spot, then feet must be washed. The place where the prasadam has been taken must be clean right after the prasadam has been taken, because the temple must be very clean. We should be careful that we do not unnecessarily contaminate the temple.
So, I'm requesting some of you to please share your understanding how we apply these principles in our own setup at home or in the temple. Who would like to share? We have 9 devotees, but we only have videos on. So we request all of you to please turn on your videos. We would appreciate.
Prabhuji, I have a question on this point. When it says cleared, it means we have to clean or clear the plates, etc. I mean, or literally clean that place.
No, we just, I think we just put the leftover prasadam in the garbage and put an empty plate on the side like we do all the time.
First of all, Mataji, prasadam, not even one piece of or 1 grain of rice should go into the garbage. First of all, everything, whatever we are receiving as prasadam, it should be.
We should be finished.
We should finish it or only take into our plate as much as we can eat.
Yeah, that we.
That is the first thing. So my question was, Prabhuji, clearing or cleaning? I mean, I'm not clear on that.
Same thing. Same thing. Cleared and cleaning, same thing. It's you don't leave behind. I think the point here is when you sat on that asan to take prasad, place was clean, and now you had your plate there, you had your prasadam there. So something will fall on the floor here, there. So when we leave, we want to make sure that place where the plate was, where you were sitting, that's also clear, it's nice and clean. We don't want to leave mess behind for somebody else to come and they cannot sit because there are some crumbs or there is something on the floor, and now it will touch them and it will make them impure. So that's the point. So clear, clean, same thing.
Yeah, then in our temple, Prabhuji, we are all stacking the empty plates after taking prasadam, and the spoons and the paper cups, everything stacking and in the garbage area where it is where we are supposed to. And then making sure that no tissue papers, I mean paper napkins, etc., everything go into the garbage properly. I mean, to be frank, I'm doing my plate and I never volunteered or never went into the hall after the prasadam to check what I can do in the hall. I never did that.
Yeah, that's fine. Any other? Now, if we're not stacking for whatever reason, there are many times when we see it's Sunday feast time, I think we're stacking. But then there could be Saturday, there could be other days when some Vyas Puja ceremony, some other ceremonies are there. We're not stacking. We take our plate and put it in the garbage bin. So like you said, that's a very important point that we don't leave anything behind in the plate, not even one morsel, 1 grain. It should be clean. But even then, when we put our plate in the garbage bin, it's a good practice to actually put it upside down so that the next person who comes, they don't see our plate and whatever mess we have made there. That's also a reasonably good practice. If we're stacking, then it's a different issue. That's one point that's coming in my mind. And then it also says the feet must be washed. Now, that process is difficult here in our temple. Mm, but to the minimum, I think it's after the second point is here. One should not enter the temple hall without having washed one's hands and feet after eating. So again,
That
feet
is,
will be difficult, but at least we should go to the sink and wash our hands and rinse our mouth before we go to the temple hall for the darshan or for Shine Aarti in our case, or for any other program. That's the point in the C. Is it okay?
Yep.
Yes, Prabhuji.
That's understandable. One should enter the temple with clean hands and feet. Again,
that
same.
then washing the feet is the problem in the temple.
Yeah. So most of us come with socks. So we just want to make sure those socks are clean. We don't go to the washroom with those same socks. Because if we go with the same socks, then we bring those socks into the temple area. That's also not clean. So we can take off our socks and then use the bathroom and then put them back on. Whatever practically we can do in the Western world, these instructions are written mostly for Indian temples where washing feet facility is also there in the temples. But we don't have. That's all right.
Yep.
Next, one should take bath after. Also, okay. So you
Passing
can.
that is not possible in our temple if somebody does it.
Yeah. So one should take. There are many other. There are 9 devotees. I'm not seeing participation from others. Yeah, please participate. Ravi Prabhu, you're there. Thank you for joining. Padma Mukhi, Mataji, Kanika Devi, please participate. Raise your hand or turn your video on. Yes, one should take. That's fine. E. One should take bath after passing stool and only then enter the temple hall. So this is significant. E is very significant point.
Yeah, we can do it in our house if it has happened before coming to the temple and somebody's passing stool. We can take a bath in our house and then come to the temple. But if people does right in the temple, then it's not possible again.
Yeah. So it's important. I guess the point here is because it's so important, because we are very much contaminated after passing stool. So it's important for all of us to make sure we do whatever we have to do at home. Unless there is some emergency, which should be once in 2 year, 5 year, not once in a month, that we have to pass stool in the temple. So that's important. And then at home, yes, we definitely want to make sure that if something happens before we go to the DDs, we take bath. That's important. Is that okay?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. F. One should not enter the temple after visiting a crematorium or after touching a dead body. One must first take proper bath and then enter. Is that okay? Any question on that?
No question.
No questions, Prabhuji.
No question. You all are pundits. G. One should not pass air or bleach within the temple. Again, if you have any urges, you go outside the temple, do what you have to do, and come back. That's the point. One should avoid putting one's fingers in one's mouth, ears, or nose while in the temple. Again, you become contaminated, and you're going to use the same finger to take arti or offer some flower or something. So therefore, if you have to, sometimes we have to, then we can make a practice to go to the bathroom and wash our hands. When one is compelled to do so, even outside the temple, one's hand must be washed immediately thereafter. That's also, these are very common sense things. During the menstrual period, Mataji may visit the temple, but they may not perform any items of deity worship, arti, dressing, cooking, garlanding that requires their presence in the deity room or kitchen, or any work that is directly connected to the deities. At this time, here is an important point. Such Mataji should avoid being in physical contact with anyone who is or will be involved in the service of the deities. They may attend Tulsi Puja but may not offer water to Tulsi Devi. Under all circumstances, chanting on one's japa beads should continue. There can be no material impediment to the chanting of the holy name. So is it okay up to this point? Any discussion, any question?
No, Prabhuji.
Good. Let's read the next paragraph. As far as one's home is concerned, who would like to read this? Actually, you should read. Amartanda Prabhu, please read.
I can read, Prabhuji.
Please.
Prabhu, I'm driving. I'm on my way back home.
I see. Okay, no problem.
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yes, please go ahead.
As far as one's home is concerned, Mataji should try to maintain the above standard where possible. In some cases, it may not be practical and possible to do that, as there may be no one else available to do the cooking. In such a cases, Mataji may do the needful to fulfill their domestic obligation and at the same time also see that their household duties are taken care of. Other members of the family, as far as possible, should help in this regard.
So this is a very practical point here, because yes, in the temple, very high standards can be followed, must be followed. There are backups, resources available, but at home, if husband and wife there and then husband is not around or not available or busy with meetings, whatnot, and then the wife says, I'm going through this period thing and then I cannot cook. I cannot cook for the deities, therefore I cannot cook for you. Haribol. Let's just fast today or tomorrow or 3 days. That's not practical. That becomes fanaticism. So suggestion here made is that please do the needful. Which could mean that if Mataji is the only cook and then she can cook and then she can take, bath and freshly cook immediately and then do a little bit deity worship, whatever she can, and then feed the family. In Grihastha ashram, the most important thing is the family should stick together and not we become hard-hearted in pursuit of following the rules and the standards. We break the family. That's not recommended. That's not desirable. That's against the principles of Vaishnava etiquette. Any discussion? Any reflection on this, or we're okay?
touching the tulsi mala is okay, right, Prabhuji? When somebody's in period,
Yeah, because that's how
but
you.
you cannot do tulsi puja.
Yeah, puja is not, but to do the japa mala, you have to touch the tulsi mala, right? So japa mala, japa should continue. It says under all circumstances, chanting on one's japa beads, which are tulsi beads, should continue. Anybody else want to comment, or we can move to H? G is gone. That's very quick.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Another Sadhu.
Uh, so, Prabhu, regarding when Mataji is, during the monthly cycle, um, long back, several years ago at the counselor meeting in Mumbai, the instruction was that it is actually Prabhupada that said everyone should know how to cook. It's a basic life skill. So during such time period, if Prabhus also know cooking, maybe not elaborate, but at least something very simple, then the Prabhu can help out during that time. So the point made was that cooking is a basic skill for everybody, not just Mataji's. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Yeah, it says here other members of the family, as far as possible, should help in this regard. But it's the what I'm getting to. I'm thinking that it's just not the skill thing. It's the availability. You know, person may be traveling. Prabhuji may be traveling. He may have so many meetings. He may be taking children to the school, or so he's not there. Even if he knows some cooking, he's not. So in those cases, this high standard which we follow in the temple can be bent a little bit to take care of the family matters. Taking care of household family matter takes precedence for Grihastha ashram. That's the point I think they're trying to make. Because these devotees who wrote these manuals are Gopinath Prabhu and Bhakti Rasamrita, they saw that when these standards are held at a very high scale in the household, then some fights and rifts and arguments and they happen, and then family breaks. So they're very careful when they write these points. So part of that sensitivity we were talking about yesterday is to be ready to bend some rules for the higher purpose. In Grihastha ashram, higher purpose is to keep peace at home. If peace at home is not there, then what good is to follow high standards? So yeah, it will vary from home to home. But any other devotees would like to contribute something? Please turn on your video. Contribute. We're here to hear from all of you. Yesterday, I felt a little bit more excited because devotees were contributing. Today, everything is very quiet. Anyway, let's go to general behavior if you have no question, no reflection. Who would like to read? Satyavama Mataji, one should always remember, yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I am driving.
Wow.
I can read, Prabhuji.
Okay.
I can read Prabhuji or Vasanta Mataji.
What about Ravi? Ravi ji, are you driving too? I want everybody to be
Hare,
involved.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I can read.
Who is this?
Anuradha, I have to change
Oh,
my name.
Mata Devi, Hari Bol. Please
Hare
read.
Krishna. One should always remember that one is a devotee and is representing Guru and Krishna, whether in temple or at home, at work, in the office, or out on the street. One should conduct in a way that draws appreciation to Guru and Krishna and should avoid all conduct that will bring Guru and Krishna disrepute.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I'm remembering one incident. Satsavrup Maharaj, I believe, yeah, I think he shared in one of his book that when one time he was, you know, you take flight and then when it lands, then everybody's ready to get up and leave. So he picked up his bag and he was also in a hurry to get out of the plane. And in that attempt, knowingly or unknowingly, he pushed somebody, and that person made a comment right there and then. He said, "You seem to be renunciant. You're supposed to follow some etiquette." Satsarup Maharaj writes that it was an eye-opening for me. That yes, that is right. I'm supposed to follow some etiquette and be sensitive to other people. I'm representing Prabhupada, I'm representing ISKCON, Parampara, Guru. So yeah, small things. Um, just going for some show and standing in the line, and if somebody says, can I come in front of you because I have my brother is already there in front of you, and then I came a little later. Now, just to letting that person go in front of you doesn't take much. We say, yes, please go ahead. And just by these small gestures, we can make big difference in the society. In the temple hall, when we're taking prasadam, if somebody's in a hurry or you see some elderly person standing behind you, you pull that person with your hand and you say, please come in front of me. I don't want you to be standing for 15 minutes. I can stand for 15, but you should be standing for 10 minutes. Please come in front of me. It's a small little gesture, but it's very appreciable. It's somebody feel I'm cared for, I'm loved here. So small things. There's so many examples. Yeah. Anybody else want to give any other example?
I have one interesting example, Prabhuji. You will laugh. All of you will listen and laugh at it. So this happened in our temple. I think on the Krishnastami celebrations day. So many devotees were visiting, right? So bhajan was happening and also arti was happening. So some devotees signed up for the arti, right? So they would get a plate and they would go to the near the altar and offer arti themselves. Right? That service, some people took that service. So I was sitting on the bench. All the chairs, all the benches were full. And then one very elderly Mataji was sitting next to me, and she had a walking stick. She was walking very slowly. She was a very elderly lady, so she was using the stick to walk. And then I think her Prabhuji came and they went to the Aarti. They took the Aarti plate and they went near the altar to perform Aarti. And then after some time, she would come back to her same place. the bhajan was happening and I was sitting next to her, and when she was going for the arti, she was saying something to me. I didn't hear in all that noise. I was also, chanting, and that kirtan was going on. So I know I didn't pay much attention. I thought she's asking me to uh, keep an eye on her handbag there, and I said okay, okay. मैंने ऐसे ऐसे हिला दिया sir, और then she went to the altar. Then after some time, a couple came. One male and one female devotees, and they sat next to me, and they just moved the bag to one side, and they sat there next to me. थोड़ी देर बाद ये माता जी आई, and then she started fighting. This is my place. Why are you sitting here? And she's angry with me. मैंने आपको बोला था ना कि मेरा place रखने के लिए. So what are you doing? I didn't expect this to happen. Like मैंने तो ऐसे ही सर हिला दिया. I thought okay, bag देखना था, तो I was keeping an eye on her. Her bag was there, but it seems she wanted me to keep her place until she comes back. And there started a small argument. And strange thing was, she was walking with a walking stick. She was very elderly. दिख रही थी वो, बहुत elderly थी. And this couple was middle aged, maybe 30, 35 something. And they said, we sat here, nobody is there, do whatever you want. तो मेरे को लगा कि वो बुजुर्ग माता जी जो हैं, उनका भी थोड़ा डिफरेंट था. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए था कि ये मेरा प्लेस है. पर अगर होगा, इवन देन बुजुर्ग है, डिवोटी है, शी इज वॉकिंग विथ ए स्टिक, तो ये यंग कपल को जब वो आके पूछ रही हैं तो शायद उठ के दे देना चाहिए प्लेस, इवन दो दे सैट. तो आई वाज वाचिंग दिस टू, हर एंड दिस कपल फाइटिंग. तो मेरे को क्या करना है अभी मेरे को पता नहीं चला. दो what I did, I got up and I said, Mataji, you take my seat, you sit here. And मैं जाके कहीं और खड़ी हो गई आराम से, शांति से. Yeah, that was the incident.
Well, you did the right thing. That's what I was about to ask you, what was your final call? So the final call, you gave your chair, and that made a big difference.
Yeah, not my chair. Then I mean, not my chair. The place where I was sitting, I vacated that place, and I asked her to sit there. And yeah,
Oh, chair, no?
no, not chair, on the bench, on the
Okay.
wall.
Yeah, you
Whatever.
gave
Yeah.
place,
Yeah.
and you received her blessings, and this 30-year-old girl, they did not receive her blessings. So
Yeah.
that's why you're here in Vaishnava Sadachar, and they're not here. We pray that one day they also come closer to Krishna, and so yeah, no, that's very nice, very nice story. Radha Mata, you want to share something? Yeah, hands up.
Prabhuji, there was a story based on this Vaishnava Parad. I don't know exactly the name of the sant. He was chanting the name of the Lord, and while chanting, he saw the scenes of Krishna and Radha Rani. And then when he was with his eyes closed, when he was seeing all that scenes, he started to laugh. But there was one person who was not like who was walking with a stick. He thought that he's laughing on me. He was a Vaishnav. Then he started to chant and meditate again, and then next day he didn't see any scene of the Lord, where he could see the garden and everything, the trees, flowers, but now he couldn't see the Krishna and Radha. And he said, what happened? He couldn't tolerate that like every time I chant I see, but now I can't. What has happened? So he went to his guru.
Mm-hmm.
And And he said that I couldn't see the deities, and he said, "Did you?" Then Guru told him, "Did you do some Vaishnava aparadh?" He said, "No, not at all. How I could do that? I can never think. When Krishna gave me darshan, I that's a least thing I can think of, because my heart goes to Krishna, and that's only my business to think about Krishna." And then said, "No, it happened." The Guru told him that it was not intentionally, but when you're chanting, you actually laughed on him, and that was the aparadh you conduct. That's why committed. And he said, "Oh," then he said, "You should go and say apologize." So he said, "Where should I find him? If I find him, I will." But what he did is that he went to all the Vaishnavas, everybody's house. He knocked the door. He did the dandvat, and they said, "No, no, no, you did not do any mistake." Because he was a sant, he was very known sant, and he said, "No, you don't do to us." He said, "No, I did aparadh. Please bless me. Give me your blessings, and please forgive me if I have done anything wrong, any mistake. So please, I beg for the apology." So like that, he knocked, and he keep on like, and then after that, after doing all these things, and he next day he had the darshan. So it's kind of, I think, with that, not actually intentionally, unintentionally also, like it can happen. So with that story, that's what I came to know. I don't know exactly the name. If somebody knows, can share. But that was very empowering. Even when you are chanting, you don't know who is, his eyes are closed. His eyes was closed, and he didn't know there's anybody walking. So it was unintentional offense, but it was considered as an offense because he took it very personally, that I couldn't walk and you're laughing on my disability. But it was not that attention. So like that, it was a story because I thought to share.
Thank you, thank you. That's a beautiful story.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. If there's time, uh, uh, Tamal Krishna Goswami's instruction on what Mataji just said. Aparadh is when there is intent. There are different layers and degrees of aparadh. So if intentionally we either ridicule a Vaishnava, or we are rude with a Vaishnava, or don't follow the etiquette intentionally, then it is considered the aparadh. And in one of his classes, Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj said that if you keep your focus on, oh, I should not be committing aparadh, I should not be committing aparadh, no work will ever get done. So that was one thing. And this particular story is highlighting that, okay, I may not have intent, but doesn't mean that I can behave any which way I want. So it is more an instruction of how we should be very careful, but at the same time, that should not become the only consideration. We all of us are fallible creatures, and sometimes unknowingly we may commit aparadh. But we need to be very, very, Devakinandan Prabhu made this very, very important point, sensitive. We need to be very, very sensitive, but not, how do you say, freak out that, oh, am I committing? Then no work will ever get done. You just won't be able to function. So this was, I think, what Mataji's story and Maharaj's instruction on Vaishnava Aparadh.
Yeah.
That was, I thought I'll share it. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Thank you, thank you. That's beautiful. One simple, practical thing, you're you go to work every day, and then your colleague, in the lunch, he or she eats some fish or egg and meat or something. And then one side of you, tells that, hey, I need to correct, I need to preach. But then you have to gauge in your own mind that Are you qualified? Do you have a relationship with that person to talk about this, non-veg or veg or something? If you don't have a relationship, then you conduct yourself. The word used here is one should conduct in a way that draw appreciation. So you conduct yourself in such a way that if you find that you don't have the adhikar, you don't have the qualification, the other person is not ready to hear, the other person will blaspheme you and Krishna and Hare Krishna and Prabhupada if you start talking about non-veg. Then you stay quiet. Then you stay quiet. There is no need to preach to everybody and anybody you feel like, because you know better, therefore I'm eligible to speak to people. So conduct yourself. That's the essence I get, especially with uncles and aunties and grandparents and at work. You have to be very, very careful. What do you say, what you don't say? Many of them have raised you, they say, I was cleaning you up when you were 2 years old, and now you are becoming Hare Krishna, and now you're giving me instructions. So no, we don't want to give them instructions because they're not ready to hear. It will be, we will not be able to bring them closer to Guru and Krishna by giving them instructions. So we must conduct ourselves. That's the point. B. Who would like to read the B? Devotee should not be expensive.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
I can read, Prabhuji.
Please go ahead.
Devotee, expensive and flashy looking jewelry. Prabhuji, something of your icon is blocking my text.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Devotees should not wear expensive and flashy looking jewelry, wristwatches, etc. Jewelry for women must be worn with careful moderation, if at all, and men should preferably avoid all jewelry like gold chains, bracelets, etc.
Right. Very important. We touched upon this yesterday. Flashy looking jewelry, wristwatches, and that includes flashy looking clothes, flashy looking makeup. That all should be avoided, especially in a public gathering in the temple. At home, you have more leverage. You do what you like to do. You're private. But in the public, we talked about this yesterday a bit also. Nothing flashy looking. We're not there in the temple to give our darshan. We are there in the temple to take darshan and blessing from Krishna and his devotees. And blessings will come upon us if we behave and look humble. Flashing looking jewelry, clothes, makeups does not, it takes away that humble persona. When we have flashy looking jewelry, makeups and clothes, red color, this, that puts you in a different persona. And that may block some of the blessings from some people. We are there to receive blessings. I guess somebody needs to be muted. Any question and comment? This is very, very important point.
Prabhu, I have a question. Sorry, I can't raise my hand. I'm on driving.
No, you're good. Please go ahead.
Couple of things. Based on Bhakti Charu Maharaj's instructions, based on even the pastimes in Shastra. Now in Shastra, Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a great Vaishnava, Gadadhar Pandit Prabhu's spiritual master, Pundarik Vidyanadi. And he used to be always very opulently dressed, with all perfumed oil and jewelry on his fingers and silk clothes and things like that. And the Gadadhar Pandit thought that, he's a flashy person, he's not humble. But then I think it was Advaitacharya or Nityanand Prabhu who said, no, you should go and take initiation from him. And when he heard, I think Bhagavad Katha or something, that's when he went into ecstasy. So that was one thing. Like there is the Vaishnav who is flashy. Now Bhakti Charu Swami also gave a very specific instruction that, and I think you covered it yesterday, that devotees, many a times this humility, the external humility, kind of becomes show bottle in the sense that they'll wear even torn clothes, unironed clothes, etc. So Maharaj says that if you look like a destitute, how are you going to attract people to Krishna consciousness? What will they think? So even before we open our mouth, the appearance is how people form impression. So you should always look presentable. Now, we also see, Prabhu, that there are great Vaishnavas, great Vaishnavas, and I'm not talking about those in the Shastras. There are so many we know personally who are extremely wealthy, and they have beautiful, huge houses. They have very opulent cars, vehicles, but there is no level of show off in them. So I was trying to see that, having opulence or dressing opulence, say for a function like Janmashtami or your child's wedding or, some congregation member's wedding, just as, even in our regular social life, if there's a wedding, you dress opulently, that's an occasion. Our child's birthday, we dress opulently. So from that perspective, the instruction, and I don't know if I'm right or wrong, Maharaj's instructions, Pundarik Vidyanidhi, and even the Vaishnavas, the wealthy Vaishnavas whom we know personally, seeing their character, is there's nothing wrong with opulence as long as it doesn't become your ego booster. Rather, if it is done with the mood of Yukta Vairagya, then it should be okay. I mean, if I'm wrong, please correct me.
Yeah, no, good point. Yukta Vairagya principle is very valid. But what we see that, when we go into that flashy mood, opulent mood, then Vairagya is generally left out. And the reason is we kind of see, we're very, at least I can say for myself, I mean, I'm very fallen. I'm not. Pundarik Vidyanidhi is a Manjari Gopi in. So that example is definitely not for us, right? But what Bhakti Guru Maharaj's point is that not torn Sudama kind of clothes, and not having any ironing done on anything, that's not also recommended. So somewhat ironing and clean and washed and looking decent clothes. If you have kurta, if you have sari, so that's Bhakti Charu Maharaj's point. Be presentable. But flashy things, what it does is it kind of single you out. See, if like you mentioned in a marriage scenario, everybody is flashy. So if you have 300 people there, 280 are all flashy. So if you are the 281 flashy, it's fine. It goes. But in a temple congregation, Sunday feast program, if you have 150 devotees standing there and, out of that 145 are not flashy and I'm the flashy 146th, it single me out. When any point I get singled out, there is a chance it will go into my head and I'll become proud.
Correct.
I'll think I'm special. And the second I feel I'm special, I lose all the blessings from around me. I was there to get blessings from 145 and Krishna, and now I lost because I became proud on the spot. There is a chance. I'm not saying everybody will become like that, but people like me with weak mind and fallen situation will become proud. And so the general instructions for all of us, like Radha Gopinath Prabhu other day, he was here. I begged him, I want to iron your kurta. He said, no way. I never ironed my kurta. It's fine, no problem. As soon as I sit in the temple, it's going to become just like crooked anyway. So why iron? But that's extreme. Brahmachari is going into a sannyas. So I don't necessarily. I'm going to follow his example, but something around that. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, Prabhu, I think, we should not anything. Neither become a show bottle humility to show everyone, oh, how humble I am. That is also arrogance. And at the same time, don't try to get all attention on yourself. I mean, it has to be whatever you do. Like one last example, it was very impressive to, there is, oh man, my mind is slipping. Like Gauranga Prabhu and Radhesham Prabhu, IIT, brilliant people. So in all their presentations, they give a fantastic bio of their achievements and background. Now it may seem like as though it is showing off or blowing your own trumpet, but it is simply that for an audience of newcomers, that immediately puts those people, how do you say it, it builds the value that, that Hare Krishnas are not just some freeloaders or whatever, but they are highly qualified people in their respective field. So whatever they say will carry weight. And then that was used as a service to Krishna. So yeah, I think you made a very important point, is don't try to be the center of attention.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
And when we have something flashy, we do end up becoming center of attraction. We may not want. The point is, you may have humility, actual humility, and you don't want to be the center of attraction, but the external flashy stuff, either that jewelry, wristwatch, the color of the clothes and the flashy and the makeup and whatnot, it will, it's just the nature of, the setup that we become the center, and then that we may not want. We may not want to be that. Good, thank you. Let's read C. It's 8 o'clock. I think we will stop here after maybe what we have: C, D, E, F, G, G. We have up to H. Let's read C quickly. While one may certainly take precautions against being cheated or take action where necessary, one should be careful to avoid picking up quarrels, indulging in useless argumentation, and so on. I think we discussed that useless argumentation is that non-veg, veg at work or whatnot, or with uncles and aunties. We argue, but we get nowhere. A devotee must be particularly careful in dealing with the opposite sex. That's a very big point, especially in the temple setup. So, anybody would like to comment on this or any question?
I think no questions, Prabhuji. Let's go to the next point.
For example, I'll give you a simple example. Even, some senior devotee comes to the temple, either Grista or even a sannyasi, and they give wonderful lectures. And then me as, I'm assuming Mataji. So, you want to see that devotee and sannyasi and thank. You go with your husband to give dakshina or get blessings from the sannyasi. Yeah. Even to meet your guru, you go with your husband. And if its guru is Mataji or senior devotees Mataji, then if Prabhuji wants to meet, he should also try his best to go with his wife to meet this. It's just clears up some air, it makes it simple, less question marks. It's a big topic, but I think the time is limited right now. Srila Rupa Goswami says that a devotee must not be neglectful in ordinary dealings. In other words, one should not give a basic courtesy and formalities, considering them to be mundane and oneself to be transcendental. Considering them to be mundane. So that's important. That airline example I gave, there are many other examples. To touch someone one's foot is offensive. If one has to walk past seated devotee in temple, for example, one should extend one's hands, indicate that one will go by and they will move their knees to let one pass. You see here, you don't cross over somebody's leg or somebody's head or somebody's foot, just like we don't cross over the prasadam plate. You don't cross over. You find a gap. If there is a gap, great. If not, go around. But don't cross over. If by accident one touches a devotee's one's feet, one should touch the devotee's body gently with one's right hand. Touch one's right hand to one's head. This nullifies the offense. These are technicalities, but at least you can say sorry. Just say Hare Krishna, please forgive me. So, I think we can end here. Any one or two reflections or comments from G and H?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have a comment, maybe I'm not sure, can be a question also, but I think there are two things. One is that giving respect to someone, it starts from home, and from home, I would say that it should start from a person, like we should respect ourselves. So a lot of we actually forget ourselves, so we don't know. It's not the ego thing, but I also think that it's the small things which matters, that we miss today. So my realization in the morning, like we always rush to the things because we have to chant, we do Mangal Aarti, all the things we rush. But today, some voice was telling me to slow down. It's okay. So you feel what you are doing right now. You washing your hands to feel the water. Maybe just like feel the soap. It's fine when you're brushing, just feel that you are like standing. So simple, basic, small things that our mind is like jumping on right, left to do what next. Uh, but we lose the point. But after being present in the moment when we're doing small act like daily chores, like maybe combing your hair, it's like slowly, it's fine, it's okay. I'm telling myself to not to just rush, just it's okay, it's fine, you know. And then when I started doing the aarti, I felt like I was being more mindful than usual, because I was paying more attention to basic things that normally we do in general. But when you start a day with the mindfulness, by just being very aware about small things that we miss, is that what we do, we make a connection with it. Whether it is a water, whether it's a comb, whether it's like you are walking, whether you are hearing or being present, what's happening, the moment to the moment awareness. That really helped today, actually, when I was setting my attention for the day today. It
That's
helped.
good. That's good point. Mindfulness. That's really very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. Because we are trying to do so many things and we're not there.
Yeah.
We're not there. We're just trying to get things done. Um, um, I'm big culprit of that also. So thank you for sharing. Any other comment? Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, this is Balram Nitai Das.
Balaram
So
Nitai
just
Maharaj, Hari, can I have your video darshan?
I'm driving actually, so that's why I could not put video.
Your excuse. Yes, please.
Yeah. So I just a humble request, as we are going into winter, right? Is it a possibility of moving the Sunday program at least like 1 hour early, or maybe if not possible, at least half hour early? Because what happens, the wife and kids, everybody want to attend the kirtan, right? Again, but Monday morning you have to rush for the job, and so it's always like a push and pull, like we want to attend everything. We come to Sunday program, we want to attend everything, take the full benefit, but then there is a Monday madness, Monday morning madness. So just wanted to see if this is possible or feasible, to just move the program, at least for winter, at least, where now the sun is setting earlier.
Yeah. We thank you for sharing. We are in that discussion. So hopefully within the next couple of weeks, you might know something more.
Sure. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comment, reflection from what we discussed so far? Paramananda Prabhu, you want to say something?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, the point what Mataji brought up, right? I mean, I think this is more, and we should, characteristic of slowing down in terms of your whatever activities you're doing, right? Put your heart into it. And she's right, when it really, she started doing the aarti and the puja and, doing her worship, this really helped her because, and I think I noticed that on my side. Sorry, I had an incoming call. So that's what I noticed my side also. The day I will start with the anxiety and work pressure, then everything goes with more and more hurry, rush, including the the aarti and doing my daily worship. So yes, a very valid point. We should slow down, unless there is really a need. But if this really gets into us, then this could be a behavioral issue.
Thank you. Thank you so much for acknowledging. And anybody else? Any other point about general behavior, conduct, flashy clothes and jewelry and makeups, and anybody else?
Yeah, one more point, if nobody else is want to go, because I don't want to hijack the call. So if anybody else has, let them I'll give them the priority. Otherwise,
As long as it's related to the discussion today, then you're most welcome to share.
Yes, Prabhuji. So as a Vaishnava etiquette, right? there is a need to acknowledge the new people, when they come to temple, and I think we don't have that facility, or like properly guide them about the darshan timings as well as the prasadam timing, and if the class is getting delayed, then there is like unnecessary commotion in front of the Sunday school, which gives a very bad impression for the first time comers. And a lot of people I see, they just leave, they get turned off and they just leave without taking prasad. So we are getting a big success from the program we started in Edison Squad, where, if you remember correctly, if I said, whatever program we used to have in our Ukrainian church, right? We are reaching up to that success if we manage it purposefully and with purpose and with attention. We can have a biggest Sunday program actually. But it needs to put a lot of, as Vaishnava etiquette and care, right? It needs to be put a lot of attention into that, how we can manage that.
Good point. Very well said that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. One other comment before we end. You have last chance.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Who is this?
This is Padmamukhi Devidasi.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji, on that point of not instructing family members or avoiding unnecessary argument, how do you react when somebody is criticizing even ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada, and you are not in a position to convince them? So what would you actually do in such a situation?
What we discussed in this last hour, that if we don't have a repo, in Hindi we call adhikar, if we don't have an adhikar to go deeper into any discussion, either criticism or even non-critical discussion, if we don't have the repo, the adhikar, and we generally know that who am I talking to, that person response from the previous time and this, how it's going, then it's always better to just not to continue in that discussion. If it's some relative, some uncle and aunties or grandparents or somebody who are criticizing, and that you don't have the adhikar, qualification, and a repo, then we just say Hari Bol and say thank you for your comment, and I will think about something you say that will not. See, what we don't want is we don't want that person to criticize more, because if you don't have adhikar, they will criticize you as a Vaishnavi, and in turn they will end up criticizing Krishna and devotees and Prabhupada, and that will be disservice to them from your side, because now you're taking away that soul away from Krishna. Even if there was 1% chance of that person coming to our Hare Krishna temple taking prasadam, that person will not come anymore because we spoil the relationship. So it's better to keep the relationship. Even if they criticize, you keep the relationship. You never lose hope. You don't think that this person is criticizing, that means that person is now gone case. Many times we think person has been taking meat, eating this and that, and watching all kind of videos and criticizing devotees. It's a gone case. That person will never come closer to Krishna and chant Hare Krishna or take prasad. That's not the case. We talked about this yesterday also. That's generally not the case. When Krishna will turn this particular soul, bring back to him, turn something in their mind, we don't know. It's just in between that person and Krishna. we must not become the controller. Sometimes we think we are the controller because I know better. I have read Bhagavad Gita. I know the verses. I know the Bhagavatam stories. I know Vaishnava. So therefore, I'm ready to preach this person. We should not think like that.
But we can give them prasadam, right, Prabhuji? That is okay.
Yeah, if they are ready to take your prasad. Sometimes you may find they're not ready to take prasad either. So then you wait. But the day you feel they're ready to take prasad, please give as much as possible.
Okay. Okay, Prabhuji.
But you're affectionate, loving, dealing with them. That what will bring them closer to Krishna.
Okay.
Not a critical philosophical discussion. Generally, devotees think critical philosophical discussion will break barriers and bring people closer to Krishna. That's not generally the case. That's only 10%. 90% of people like some loving, caring, affectionate, sensitive dealings. That's what brings them closer to you and closer to Krishna. So, yeah. Is it all right?
Yes, Prabhuji. That's perfect. Thank you.
We will end here. It's 8:20. Singeshwar Prabhu, you can please.
Right. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very enlivening class. Talked about so many wonderful etiquettes. It's all for us to follow, not to just hear. Maharaj says, ISKCON means ISKCON through this Khan. That's his was saying. ISKCON means hear this ISKCON and this Khan. Like that. It should not be like that. So we heard it. We should bring it in our heart and then try to follow as much as possible. So this helps us in so many ways. Thank you so much. We'll continue this tomorrow. And please join as much as possible and to make it available. And this shows that your dedication. This shows that even this is one of the first Vaishnava etiquette that our enthusiasm, eagerness to understand and listen. So that itself is very good. Thank you so much. Anything else? Anybody else before we conclude? Okay. Thank you so much, Devakinandan Prabhu. And Vanchakalpatarupasya kripa sindhubhyev cha padidana pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Vaishnavavrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananda Gaudi Vaishnavavrinda ki jai. Guru Premanande Hari Hari.
Jai.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.